What is up, my friends, my friends, my friends? Welcome back to another episode of Chaotic Serenity. We are here kicking off another day of Chaotic Serenity, and what I want to talk about is, what had happened was I didn't really have a whole lot on my mind that I wanted to talk about for Chaotic Serenity, right? Because we've done so many so far this year that I'm starting to run out of certain topics to talk about. And it's just been a really busy week. I haven't had any inspirations. But when I went to church the other day, the pastor was teaching on the woman at the well. Okay. And as part of that, he was talking about how we all kind of wear these masks, right? We just recently had Halloween not too long ago. We were talking about masks and costumes, and he was talking about how oftentimes we wear different masks around different people to try to make ourselves appear to have everything together, right? And so now this is kind of deviating a little bit away from the story of the woman at the well, but he tied this in to that story, right? So I don't really want to talk too much about the woman at the well scenario as I do with some of his closing things that he said, my pastor. So he was talking about masks and Halloween, right? And if you're familiar at all with addiction recovery or Celebrate Recovery, the Christ-centered 12-step recovery program that I'm involved in and so many other people that I know are, one thing that you should know by now, if you know me, right, is I'm really big on not wearing masks, not pretending like everything is okay, right? And a tried and true, like stereotypical example is you've got a family and they're driving to church, they're on their way to church, they're all in the minivan, in the car, whatever, and there's a big argument that blows up on the way to church about whatever, right? The family's got an argument going on, whether it's the husband and the wife or the kids and the parents, whatever it is. There's some massive argument going on. There is sin happening in the car on the way to church, right? Somebody is unleashing anger, right? It's if there's an argument going on, it's safe to say that somebody is in the wrong there. Somebody is sinning there, right? And then you get to church and you walk in the door and somebody greets you and says, "Hey, how's it going this morning? You guys doing all right this morning?" And then the answer you give is not the honest answer. It's, "Oh yeah, we're okay." And everybody in your family plasters on these fake smiles to pretend like everything is okay, nothing is wrong. We're a good, upstanding, happy Christian family who doesn't have problems and never gets in fights or arguments. We are fine. Everything is great here. Right? You know what I'm talking about? I'm sure you do because I'm sure that you've done that, right? I've done that. In some way, shape, or form, we've all done that. And in some way, shape, or form, we do that all the time, I think, right? If we're honest with ourselves. And one of the things that I have learned and I really try to embrace, for the most part, is I like to think that I really try to not wear masks a whole lot, right? Like I wear my heart on my sleeve. I wear my feelings on my sleeve. If you ask me an honest question and you're really concerned, you're going to get an honest answer from me. That kind of thing. I'm not afraid to admit that my life isn't perfect. I'm not afraid to admit that I'm not full of joy all the time and that life is not a peachy keen walk in the roses, right? So anyways, in regards to this story, in Jesus at the well, right, with the woman at the well, and she's saying, they're having a conversation, and she's saying, "Look, my people worship at Mount Gerizim. Your people worship over there at the temple in Jerusalem. Somebody's wrong. Who's wrong?" And she's trying to kind of get down to technicalities about what's going on between the Samaritans and the Jews and how they worship and things of that nature. And anyways, long story short is Jesus goes on to say, look, the day is coming when we won't worship it either, right? When we will worship in spirit and in truth, okay? Now, when I heard that, In fact, I'm not talking about when I heard that at church just the other day. I'm talking about like the first time that I heard that verse, and pretty much every time I've heard that verse since, what my mind thinks about is, okay, we're going to worship in spirit. In other words, our spirit, like it's something that comes from inside of us. It's not just about these outward things that we do to worship. It's not just about the sacrifice at the altar, if you will, but it's about the motivation and the heart behind that sacrifice, right? Okay, so that's what I thought about. But then when it says in spirit and in truth, I always just thought it meant like literal textbook truth. Like I will worship Jesus and God with my spirit, and I'll worship them in truth. In other words, I will worship God in regards to the things that are true about Him, right? I'll give Him praise for the things that I have read and I have faith and believe that are true about Him. I thought I was talking about that kind of truth. But my pastor posed an interesting question and made an interesting point. He said, what if that truth that we're talking about there is not like whether or not we believe in the various truth claims of the Bible, of Jesus, of the gospel, but what if it means that we can worship God by our being truthful, by not wearing masks, by taking off masks, by giving honest answers, right? We can worship in spirit and in truth, as in our sincerity with others, our honesty with others, our honesty before God, right? Not pretending like everything is okay and we've got it all together, but being real and raw and honest. I don't know. I thought it was very thought-provoking and it was a very good point. What do y'all think? Let me know in the comments. Anyways, that's all I got for y'all for today, but hey, thanks for being there. Appreciate you. Till we meet again, deuces.